Hi, I'm Claudia Brown Coulter with Pivotal Peace. I'm your go-to mediator for navigating divorce while parenting children with special needs. I'm also a legal document assistant, LDA, based in the greater Los Angeles area. Everyone has conflict. Everyone has conflict. It's a natural part of being in relationship with other people. If you don't have any conflict, you're either living by yourself or you're dead. Right? Everybody has conflict. So let's talk about how we address this. And there are times where conflict gets triggered and you're just like, what? All right. So POV, you are going through a divorce. Guess what? There's going to be a whole bunch of conflict and it's going to be easily triggered. Walking through a divorce in the early stages can be like walking through a field full of landmines. You don't always know what you're going to step on. When you are talking to your spouse, conflict can be triggered by a perception of disrespect, of misunderstanding, or they're feeling like they're losing control over a situation. Most of the time, it has nothing to do with you. It has something to do with their past. True? And if we flip things and look at ourselves, that can be true too, where something someone says or does or triggers a memory and a thought and it happens so fast, we're not always fully aware of it happening, and it causes us to escalate conflict or to start some So this is really important to know what triggers you, because if there are no bullets in the gun, it doesn't matter how many times you pull the trigger, nothing's going to happen. So if you are identifying what triggers you, you can begin to neutralize it. I want to point out the fact that while you may know some of your spouse's triggers, there might be some that you don't know. They could be the type of person where one day they're triggered if you say this thing and the next day they're not. You never know. So this is where you have to be self-aware enough to go, how can I de-escalate conflict and be authentic and not intentionally trigger someone, but recognize the fact that I honestly don't know if they're going to be triggered today or not. So you need to know about that. Remember, you can't control this other person. You can only control you. We can't control anyone else but ourselves. So knowing what your triggers are can help neutralize them. Conflict will escalate because you or the other person has been triggered, and then you react to that trigger. You shut down. You give the silent treatment. You become aggressive. You are angry. You are defensive. You fight back physically. You fight back with your words. You hurl accusations. You feel backed into the corner, so you fight your way out. That's where conflict escalates because we've gotten triggered. Your role in understanding this conflict is going, okay, I think I just got triggered here. How am I going to react? How am I going to respond? And also offering yourself grace of like, oh, that didn't go so well, but it went worse the last time, so I'm getting better. Or it didn't go so well, so how can I not do that again the next time? And one of the ways you do that is you stay calm. And the way I do it is I'm prepared. I'm like, what am I going to do if they do X, Y, and Z? They're going to probably do a double A and I'll be like, oh crap, I don't know now. But going through the mental process of I need to bring up this conversation, or I just need to walk through the house to go to the kitchen and my spouse might be angry with the way I'm walking through the house, right? You just never know. Why are you marching through the house? Like anything can trigger anyone. How am I going to respond to that? And is it going to be about me? Or is it going to be about them? Okay. Am I going to let them rob my peace? So if you know that there's a potential for a trigger, if you can manage and be prepared and go, okay, this is how I'm going to react. I'm not going to show any emotion. I'm going to be calm and I'm going to get the F out of the house. That's actually that's about controlling yourself. And two, that's going to de-escalate a conflict, because if there's no one to fight with, there's no one to fight with. If there's no fuel on the fire, if there's no oxygen, that fire is not going to get very big. When I'm working with couples as they are going through a divorce, when I'm working with them as their mediator, especially if they have children together, I love to encourage them, hey, if you can reach agreement on these issues outside of mediation, go and do that. Go have those conversations. You guys are going to be parents the rest of your lives, and you're going to need to continue to talk. So having these conversations now is really helpful for you because your relationship continues post-divorce. But there are other issues. There are either couples without children or without young children, or maybe it's a particular issue where people cannot have those conversations without a mediator. Well, then don't. If every time you bring up this important topic and it erupts into a conflict, you trigger them, and maybe you don't know why you're triggering them or how you're triggering them, or you just can't get past it, you can't have any productive conversation, this is the time to bring in a mediator. And it's not just in divorce. You could be talking to your best friend, and every time you get into a fight about this and your relationship is about to be over, having a neutral third party there can really help grease the wheels, help you with this conflict so that you can move past it. So don't dismiss this idea that I've done what I could and I still can't get rid of this conflict. That might be when you need to bring in someone else, where you have to decide, how much is this relationship worth to me, and am I keeping it? Because if it's a divorce, then you need to keep the relationship long enough to reach your agreements and have a peaceful life. And if it's a friendship, maybe you want to keep that relationship. And that dictates the process and what the outcome is going to be like. Don't be afraid to have these conversations. Remember, you may unintentionally trigger someone. Control yourself, control your reactions. It will get better. If you found this video helpful, please like and consider subscribing. And if you think it would be useful to someone else, I'd appreciate a share.